cars and drivers around me here, so it's going to be on.
It's been a different weekend for you. I mean, I know it's home turf for wall racing and so on, but compared to the island, it's been a much happier hunting ground here, hasn't it?
Yeah, we're actually in the fight, which makes it more rewarding to come from car racing. So the team and Adrian, put a lot into it, and to get these sort of little wins is nice. So see how we go in the race. We'll play it as smart as we can, but we'll be aggressive too.
Adrian, come in here for a moment. When he says that, play it as smart as we can, what is the sort of game plan here? Can you shed a bit of light on that?
I'm not sure it's play it smart. I've just told him to, go as hard as he can. He's free to race, and bring the car back to me with rags on it, and
Car is iconic in its colour scheme. We can't miss it. Are you enjoying? I mean, having it here and up front has got to be a good thing.
Yeah, it is. Look, we always used to say if you can't be fast, at least look good, and this weekend we look good and we're fast. So that's what it's all about. We just want to compete. We want to race. Tony's a racer, and that's what we want to do. So it's the whole team.
Enjoy, boys.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks.
The vibe at the opening round was something else.
He's struggling and there's contact.
Cool cars, passionate people, an island adventure that celebrated all kinds of categories and opened doors to fans like never before. Now we touch down in the harbour city for an epic weekend.
On Chaz, there's a little bit of contact there. Instant, just a light tap from the floor.
Where night fever sets in on Saturday. That edgy fight or flight sensation brought on by the excitement of racing under lights. There's no guarantee the symptoms will ease on Sunday, even with a healthy dose of daylight.
Forced into the outside. In the middle. Left.
We're about to turn the dial up another level and find out who the true all-rounders are.
Was spot on yet again.
Let's face it, getting to watch this one makes us the real winners. Welcome to Sydney Motorsport Park for the GT Festival. Round 2 of the 2025 Shannons Speed Series.
It's not just the cars, the fans have brought the energy too. The grid walk is underway ahead of the main event for the GT3 competitors this afternoon. Welcome to all of our viewers on 7 Mate, 7 Plus, and those watching on the SRO YouTube channels around the world. Greg Rust and Isabella Limbruggen with you on the grid here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Good afternoon of racing coming, and we're looking forward to it, aren't we?
Yeah, what a weekend it's been already, Rusty. Sydney Motorsport Park has delivered. The racing has been electric. It's the second round of a jam-packed Shannons SpeedSeries season. Next month, we're on to Queensland. That'll be our third round of the season. We have Sandown, the Bend to look forward to, and then the season will finish across the ditch at Hampton Downs in a couple of months' time. But yes, in the thick of it here at Sydney Motorsport Park this afternoon, ready for our GT3s to go racing. And boy, under lights last night, Rusty, weren't they incredible?
It was a great spectacle, but today it's all about the daylight, and the focus is an hour of competition here in GT3. We've got some Ferrari Challenge racing to come to.
Yeah, massive schedule ahead still to come this afternoon. So we've got this GT3 race, and the Ferraris, they've been fantastic to watch in action all weekend. Their final race of the weekend will take place after this GT3. That still to come on the schedule. So much racing still to look forward to.
GT3, of course, all powered by AWS. We're about to break here and wander the grid, talk to some of the drivers before the fans clear the grid and go racing. It's a great time to be here.
Certainly right, and what a dominant win it was for the pole sitters behind us last night in Evans and Shute. They'll be looking to do it again from the front of the grid this afternoon. We've got Chris Stubbs, who's also walking the grid. Stubbsy, who have you got?
Well, Bella, it was a long walk too to come to the rear of the grid and find Jada, one of our stars who's caught out by a red flag in qualifying. That's why you're at the back, but the GPS got you here, which is good. Elbows out, putting on a show, I guess that's the only approach, right?
Yeah, I'm just helping you get your steps up there, Stubbsy. So, obviously not an ideal qualifying session for us, but the Rialta Mercedes AMG GT3 was amazing in the race yesterday, so hopefully we can just continue that pace into today.
You're selling it short, amazing. It was a lap record and by quite some margin, so the pace is there, and that was a great podium. Yeah,
I just asked my engineer Matt if I can go fast, and if he says yes, then I just go for it.
Well, you're not alone down here. We're going to leave you and wish you all the best. Good luck.
Thank you.
And we're going to quickly skip over because another one of our stars of Australian motorsport starting at the wrong end of the grid is a man who's been with us in our broadcast this weekend. Tom Randall. He's got Marcel Zalua who's helping him out this weekend. Thank you, Marcel. I know we're almost ready to go. Tommy Randall, you love a bit of TV time and you're ready to put on a show, right?
Yeah, I've finally traded the comm box for the car again, and I've got a little bit more work to do this afternoon, so just going to have fun out there. It's such a great experience driving one of these cars around here, and you've got to thank Marcel for having me along for the ride. It's been heaps of fun and so cool for him and I to get that podium last night, and yeah, just having a ball, really.
Good luck, mate.
Thanks, Stubbsy.
Well, one woman who had an incredible performance last night was Renee Gracie, winner in the AM class, and she's been good enough to chat to me now. Last night, you started from front row in the grid, a little bit further back here this afternoon. How will you handle it?
Yeah, look, it was good last night to start up the front. I will say it's a lot less stressful when you're off the front row. But look, I'm where I'm meant to be in this. All the pros are in front of me, and I feel like where I am right now is where I deserve to be. So my goal is just to hang on to these boys as much as I can, and once all the AMs get in, hopefully I'm at the front and it's on for the end.
That strong performance last night and in qualifying throughout the weekend, how much confidence does that give you heading into this afternoon?
Yeah, it's given me a lot of confidence, a little bit unexpected, but I'll take it. Obviously, I've worked a lot in the off-season and the first round of Phillip Island to make sure that I'm really got my head screwed on. I'm doing this by myself as well, so there was a little bit of pressure just to make sure that I performed, and I feel like I've sort of stood up to that task of obviously making sure that I am performing and I am competitive, and it seems like it's working early on in round 2.
At Sydney Motorsport Park, biggest challenge around here?
Look, I love this place, I'm not going to lie. Last night I was so excited. Ever since I found out we were racing under lights again, I could not wait to come back here. For whatever reason, I enjoy it here. I love racing under lights, and yeah, it's always really good. I've had good results here, and I think it just suits me, and I enjoy every second, every lap that I do around here, so I think that's helping me.
Well, best of luck and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks to Isabella Limbruggen down on the grid and Chris Stubbs as well, getting all the angles as we count down to the start for GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS. Some of the best drivers going around in some of the coolest cars and different brands absolutely everywhere. Before we go racing, why don't we take a closer look at Sydney Motorsport Park? And I suggest you crank your volume up because you're going to hear the sweet sounds of a normally aspirated Mercedes AMG V8 being driven by our own Thomas Randall. That is a flying lap of Sydney Motorsport Park. It is one of the higher average speed circuits on the calendar, and in a GT3 car, wow, it's spectacular. Yesterday was a great race, and this combination of Elliott Shute and Jackson Evans not only led from the outset, but pulled a joker during their pit stop and gained a huge amount of lap time or track position and won in the end comfortably. But behind it, the battle for second was raging the whole way through, and Thomas Randall and Marcel Zalua got the job to be P2 in the end ahead of Jaden Ojeda and Paul Lucitti. Jaden reset the lap record, took more than a second out of the existing GT3 benchmark here at Sydney Motorsport Park, held by the Swiss driver Ricardo Feller. So the pace is as hot as it ever has been. But if Juice is going to do something today, Greg Rusty's got to do it from 15th and last on the grid, because he did not get a lap time in qualifying. A red flag in the qualifying session that set the grid for this race set him and Thomas Randall right to the back. So they've got the job to do before their AM drivers jump back in for the second half of the race. Welcome back to the commentary box.
Good to be here, and the feeling on the grid there, Krause, they're not even above the pit lane here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Good crowd in today, and I think the words we used in the introduction were, you know, that enthusiastic crowd of very passionate sort of owners, people that love or aspire to have these sorts of cars, and to underscore the calibre on the grid, if you will. We've got, he was with us last night, we spoke with him in the coverage obviously, but we've got SRO Motorsports Group's founder, the driving force, if you will, in Stefan Rattel. The sport, its origins go back to 1995 globally. GT racing is represented in all sorts of countries, and what we have here in Australia is very much what you can find at other places, you know, some legendary racetracks all around the world. So there is an opportunity to do things on the international stage, and we often welcome those, like Dorian Boccalacci last time, to come and compete on our shores too. This is the starting list for you. It's been a wonderful weekend for Jackson Evans and Elliott Shute and the team from Arise Racing in that Ferrari. Tony D'Alberto and Adrian Dietz, spoke with him before on the front row. That's a good boost for them with the Lamborghini Huracan as well. And Brock Feeney and Brad Schumacher on that changeable Sunday at Phillip Island last time out. They were the pairing that ended up getting a very, very special result at the island.
So there's two qualifying sessions in GT World Challenge, one for the pro and one for the AM driver. Jackson Evans and Elliott Shute both did the job They locked out the top spot for both sessions for the number 26 Arise Racing Ferrari. Outstanding performance for them. Brad Schumacher and Brock Feeney did the same in the Kelso Electrical Audi, qualified third for both races. Consistency will win you this championship. It's 6 races, 6 rounds I should say, 12 races only to win a title this year in GT World Challenge Australia. Every single race is critically important, and this will be a big one. But what about that opportunity for Antonio D'Alberto? Runs the full name when he's a GT driver. Great to see the Lamborghini on the front row of the grid. Adrian Dietz has poured his heart and soul into this program with Wall Racing. David Wall team, former Carrera Cup and GT Racing champion. They've got David Fife engineering that car this weekend. It's way more improved than it was at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit, and it's cool to see TD on the front. He'll get to strut his stuff the first half hour of this race.
All Italian front row, a bit of pep in the step for Antonio D'Alberto, but they will have to find a way to edge out Evans and Elliott Chute on what has been an unreal weekend for Lance East Exotics and Arise Racing. They're in the Ferrari on the right-hand side there. Evans at the wheel for the start. All bunched up and ready. Final one of the weekend, GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS. And D'Alberto makes a nice run of it down to turn 1. What about Love down the inside? Pretty wild in the second of the Ferraris. Made good ground coming through there, and I think Brendan Leach is in the mix too.
Love got the nose down the inside, had to back out of it. They were 3 and a bit wide. Bowling a wide is Alex Peroni in the ACMF car. The Audi's going to drop some spots out of that one. Brock Feeney maintains his position. George King, Thomas Randall started at the back of the field. Already a couple of spots gained. Leach with the send, couldn't get it done at 4. In the mix there as well as Declan Fraser. Jordan Love, aggressive kangaroo on the front of that dark red, the Maranello red Ferrari. Ojeda threading the eye of the needle between the 2 Merc rivals. He's already got a couple of spots.
Gets it done, Leach down the inside. Those dive bomb moves 12 months ago, it was on Chas Mostert, I think, from memory. And they were very, very etched in our minds coming into this weekend. Didn't help that Brendan replayed them on social media either. But he's replicating that sort of form here now in the Dale ITM Audi. So running in the top 6, that silver and black entry. It's Evans who leads the way from Tony D'Alberto. Need to give a shout out to that silver and gold Audi in 3rd place. That is Ryan Wood, Walkinshaw Andretti United driver, and he is making a claim here for potentially 2nd place. Good start by Ryan Wood.
Deep down under the skin, these 2 cars related. The Audi R8 and Lamborghini Huracan platform, both V10 powered, very, very similar style of racing car. Ryan Wood in just his 2nd ever round in GT3 cars, absolutely flying. He and Steve Brooks had a pretty solid day yesterday with 6th place finish in the Wolfbrook racing car run by Melbourne Performance Centre. Evans leads 1.1 seconds at the end of the opening lap. D'Alberto next, Wood, Feeney, Love, aggressive. Leach also, Declan Fraser, Peroni, Ojeda. He's P9 because of course he is. He's already gobbled up Tom Randall and George King.
Feeney, I think, has been able to pull a couple of car lengths on Jordan Love there. Now it's been an impressive start by Jordan Love as well. Watch for Brendan Leach in the background, zeroing in on the Ferrari there now. And then the Aston Martin. Declan Fraser at the wheel, currently in 7th place, but he is being hounded. Ojeda is on the march.
He's already passed Alex Peroni this lap. So that's one more position gained, and he's putting the pressure on Fraser in the Shannons Valente Rosso Aston Martin. Evans flying out in front, the cold tyre pace, their ability to get that Ferrari 296 GT3 switched on early in a race and make its Pirellis work for them early. The fact they're in clean air helps the cause as well. But the fast Kiwi doing great things. There's been some really cool profile pieces about Jackson in broadcasts in the last couple of months, documenting his journey through the sport and how it's ended up here with a full-time supercars career and racing GT cars here and around the world. And Jackson Evans breaks the lap record on lap 2, 26.39, fractionally quicker than Ojeda went last night. So that's the pace of this car out in front, carrying a 15-second time penalty for their pit stop this race as a result of winning He's going to try and build that margin before the stops.
Tell you what, prior to a bit of traffic, Thomas Randall in the early part of the lap was looking like maybe even going quicker, fastest in the first sector. So he's down in 10th at the moment and not wanting to let Jaden Ojeda disappear up the road if he can hang tough and go with that Mercedes AMG, that pairing in two separate cars. Here he comes, has a little look at Peroni, can't quite get by him. That is for 9th place at the moment. Around Corporate Hill. Love's right with Brock Feeney there at the moment. Not much in it between those two in the fight for 4th place. Evans from D'Alberto, Ryan Wood. They're your top 3.
Tom was saying he really hasn't had an opportunity to start one of these cars on a cold tyre, so this is all learning experience for him. A couple of Bathurst 12 hours under his belt driving for Scott Taylor Motorsport in Scotty's AMG GT3. Evans across the line and almost breaks the lap record again, flying his margin 2.5 seconds over D'Alberto now, who has still got Ryan Wood locked up under the rear wing of that beautifully liveried Lamborghini Huracan in 2nd place. Then Feeney going with them, and Love, how aggressive was his start in that run into turn 1. Put the nose of the Ferrari down the inside and ultimately decided it might be a little bit too risky. Backed out of it. Great to see the West Aussie back racing in Australia and as fast and competitive as he always has been.
To your point, that lap by Evans was literally only just over a 10th off the record-breaking pace. That's for position. Ryan Wood gets by Tony D'Alberto, up into 2nd place now. Look left, look right, dive down the inside of the Huracan, and he's up into 2nd place. Steve Brooks will be cheering, won't he?
He's a pretty excitable character, so he'll be thoroughly enjoying this. Move to 2nd place, Ryan Wood, Walkinshaw Andretti United Supercars racer full-time, coming off the back of a really good weekend at Topol, the last round of the Supercars Championship. He'll be in action at Simmons Plains next week. Now there's compensation time. If you win, you get pinged. So 15 seconds for the race leader. But the car currently in 2nd place and the car currently in 3rd have no additional pit stop time when they make their stop. So Ryan Wood in potentially a very good position. He can stay within 15 seconds of Jackson Evans, which at the moment might be hard work because Evans is absolutely flying. They're going to be in a really good spot to lead this race when the AMP drivers jump in.
Kelso Electrical Audi closing in. It's like he's latched the sights. Not hard to do with that paint scheme on the Huracan. He's closing in on Tony D'Alberto. Love is coming for the ride here as well in the Ferrari. So those 3 are fighting over 3rd place. Good stuff from Jordan Love. Nice to see him. We know the kind of talent that he's got, but nice to see him showing that here in the Australian GT3 Championship.
Family business over in the west. Moto's on the Swan River in Perth, recently closed up, so the business changed hands, I believe. But g'day to Nikki and Ian and the family, and Aaron watching on, I'm sure. To see Aaron up behind another one of these cars. This would be the perfect place for him to come and play while he makes the next move in his potential supercars career. He was very, very good in one-make Porsche racing. So too his brother, who was a champion of Carrera Cup and Sprint Challenge Australia and went overseas to go and race. Had an involvement with MB Partners, the management company run by Mark Blundell, former IndyCar and Formula One racer, as Brock Feeney gets up the inside of Tony D'Alberto, but there was no opportunity to squeeze by there. This is the fight for 3rd, 4th and 5th place. Jackson Evans is leading by more than 4 seconds now, the AMP class being led by Renee Gracie.
I don't reckon it'll be too long until these 3 are joined at a rapid rate by Brendan Leach and Jaden Ojeda. Look at them right there. Ojeda starting to put the pressure on the Dale RTM Audi.
This is another enormous drive from Ojeda, starting at the back. Gobbled up a bunch of cars early on, sided his way through the field, and now looking to get up and pass Brendan Leach. Tom Randall still battling with Declan Fraser behind for 8th and 9th position. Where can Ojeda get this car? Where can he hand it over to Paul Lucidi for the second half of this race when they drive down pit lane to the Ticani Motorsport pits? they've got an extra 5 seconds to carry as a result of finishing third. If you're not up with the news in GT World Challenge, the Juicer's had a run of P2s of late. He was second in the opening round of GT World Challenge. He was second at the Bathurst 6 Hour. He was second in a 5-hour GT race at Suzuka. So he finished third last night. At least it wasn't P2. He was kind of hoping that the change of result went one way the other way instead of P3, but at least he's broken that run of results. Winning today is going to be really difficult, starting from the back of the field in a grid this deep and this competitive.
45 minutes remain in this race. Jackson Evans with a lead of nearly 4.5 seconds and a lap record already. With that 1 minute 26.39 in the early part of this race. Ojeda has a little look, tries to go deep. Leach blocks the opportunity. Car dances a little under brakes, and that's cost him. Ojeda is through.
Not sure what tyres he's going to give the car over to Paul Chitty, his co-driver for the back half of the race, but he's certainly going to give it to him in good track position. So the Realtor car now moves up to 6th position. It's past the man from Invercargill, one of the busiest GT drivers in the world, pumped about getting to Laguna Seca
next week,
WeatherTech Raceway in California for his first look at the corkscrew. He's never been there before for some Lambo Super Trofeo racing. His dance card is incredibly full. I think 6 weekends in a row he's in the midst of at the moment, just living the dream, going GT racing. Love to get a look at his frequent flyer account, by the way.
It's dropped off a little bit here relative to Ojeda, who's now getting closer to Love. I'm not sure if that's maybe just indicative of how good Jaden Ojeda is going at the moment in this race as he zeroes in on that group. Leach maybe just not quite able to go with them. Evans from Ryan Wood, the gap remains the same. Then it's another 2.4 seconds back to Tony D'Alberto in third in the Lamborghini Huracan. Little brush of the brake there in the Realtor Mercedes AMG. Flash of the lights to Jordan Love. Hey, I'm coming. Wants to try and sneak through that little intimidating thing.
Well, and it's worked because Love was very wide at turn 2 and it just opened the door. Ojeda got the nose up racing on home turf, couldn't execute the pass in the end. It never ceases to amaze how he can manage to extract so much speed from this car relative to a whole bunch of unbelievably talented professional race car drivers around him. You can see why Mercedes AMG have tapped him on the shoulder and said, yep, we want you to be part of our driver program. We want you to be a Mercedes AMG representative because he gets the results. Jackson Evans continues to lead the way over Ryan Wood and Tony D'Alberto. 43 minutes to go. We're racing our way towards the pit stops in GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS.
It's a Ferrari leading the way on Sunday, and it was a similar story on Saturday night, and that gives you an idea of the margin as our coverage continues here at Sydney Motorsport Park, the Shannons SpeedSeries. Jackson Evans leading Ryan Wood, couple of supercars drivers also competing in this class. Tony D'Alberto, who has been a regular for Dick Johnson Racing as an endurance driver for some time, a TCR Australia champion as well, holding down that third place in the Lamborghini Huracan. The Shannons-backed Aston Martin, you can see coming through turn 1 there at the moment, in the hands of Declan Fraser. Currently 9th in this race. We go back to the battle between Jordan Love, Jaden Ojeda for 5th place at the moment.
That margin out in front's just stabilised, and the last couple of laps Ryan Wood has matched the race leader. So he worked hard early to build that margin, and we talk about the pit stop penalty you get for winning, so 15 seconds. But what Jackson Evans has done by blazing away so hard early has basically reduced that to, well, it's 11 seconds now, isn't it? Because he's got 4 seconds of track position. What he doesn't want now is any form of interruption from a safety car to slow the progress in the race, because all that hard work he's done would disappear, and he has to spend longer sitting stationary in the lane. It makes life very, very difficult. So he wants this to run green all the way to the pit stops and then hand the car over to Elliott Shute with an opportunity to win this race and win 2 races in a weekend, which is a very rare thing to do in GT World Challenge Australia.
In terms of our AM competitors, 12th outright, Renee Gracie leading the class at the moment. from Ben Schutz in the Mercedes AMG, and then it's the Audis of the Konduras brothers, 14th and 3rd as far as our AM competitors are concerned. You can see them highlighted there on the left-hand side of your screen on the graphic. So is this as far as the Realtor Mercedes AMG is going to be able to get in this stint? We'll get some news from pit lane. Here's Chris.
Thank you. Just thought we'd grab Paulie Chitty and see if he's enjoying the work of Juice Ojeda as much as we are. You've got the best seat in the house. Juice, doing a good job for you.
Yeah, he's certainly been fast all weekend, and well, last year and this year. So he's improving every race. I don't know how, but he's doing it. It's unfortunate we started back in 15th, but he's up for the task. So we'll see how we go.
The drive yesterday, a lap record and getting onto the podium, was remarkable. So it does mean you cop 5 seconds. Do you think he's going to leave any rubber on those tyres for you? And how does it play out from here?
Yeah, they're definitely going to be pretty torched, the old tyres, I think. But hopefully there'll be something left for me and we can be competitive. Yeah.
What are you learning from him so far? I mean, the talent he's got is outrageous.
Yeah, well, he's good at coaching, so I'm taking everything he tells me on board and trying to put as much into practice. So I'm improving, and he's a big part of it.
Great job and good luck this afternoon.
Yeah, thank you.
This place is a happy hunting ground for Paul. If you look back in the last 12 months, the 44-year-old, he highlights the fact that winning that 2024 Eastern Creek 3-hour GT World Challenge race, or Sydney Motorsport Park 3-hour race, a real highlight in his motor racing career. So they're back and having another good crack at it on Sunday afternoon in our 1 hour. Back to Brendan Leach we go. Dale ITM entry, still in 7th place. Was able to close back on Ojeda a couple of car lengths, but just sitting there at the moment. Status quo. Here's what's happening as far as our AM competitors are concerned. So Renee Gracie in the OnlyFans Audi leading the way, but in close company, that Schutz. Ben Schutz right there, 2nd place in the class.
Black Wolf Racing Mercedes AMG GT3 sharing with his good mate Shane Woodman. They came into the weekend equal on points in the AM class with Renee Gracie, so 44 points apiece. Had a win and a second each at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit in the AM class. Ended up second yesterday and Renee won, so the advantage swung back the way of the Audi driver. I wonder if they can level the score once again this weekend and take the fight on to Queensland Raceway, which is our next stop on the tour with the Shannons SpeedSeries. Great little racetrack up near Ipswich, which has had a new lease on life with the investment from Tony Quinn and his group. Looking forward to getting up there. The weather's always great and it always produces great racing. Hugely dramatic GT World Challenge round last year. Massive start line impact. Remember at turn 1, the Audi turned around. It was incredibly dramatic. One of the key turning points in the championship fight last season.
So right now, Jackson Evans leading the way from Ryan Wood, but the gap hasn't altered all that much. It remains 4.8 seconds. Tony D'Alberto, as you can see, continues in the top 3, but it's a close battle pack. Brock Feeney 4th, Jordan Love 5th, and joining the tail of the train and proving a nuisance, but in a good way, that Realtor Mercedes AMG in the hands of Jaden Ojeda.
D'Alberto stout in his defence. Ojeda doing some lawn mowing on the exit of turn 6, using all of that exit curb. Adrian Dietz will be proud watching this. D'Alberto's co-driver rates him incredibly highly. He's caught up with David Wall, who owns the team that prepares and runs this car early in the weekend. And Wally said, look, we've just hamstrung a little bit in the lead up to this year's championship. Struggled at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit, but the changes that were made coming into this weekend, the car is outstanding. So D'Alberto driving it very, very well, and Adrian continuing to make great gains. This is version 2.0 of the pretty evocative livery that they've had running. The original version on the previous gen car, the older model car that Adrian ran, was based on that classic BASF BMW M1 that ran and the Porsches that ran in sports car racing. But then they tuned it up, and Adrian went through a really long process and he was quite nervous. He said, I didn't want to go away from what we had too far because it was such a fan favourite and you could spot it so well on the racetrack. But it needed a refresh, a little change. So when he bought this Evo 2 version of the Hurricane, he engaged one of his friends who's a pretty well-renowned street artist in Sydney and does a lot of street art installations around the CBD of Sydney, and said, look, can you make this the same but make it different? And this is what they've come up with. And if the Streets Ice Cream Company isn't lining up to get on board and sponsor it, they are completely mad, because it is a walking billboard for them. So I can hook you up if you need it, and take some ice creams in the commentary box while we're at it.
Hi, Antonio D'Alberto here for Streets Ice Cream. I can see it now.
Great ambassador.
See it now.
And this just compresses again, this little battle. So Lamborghini, Audi, Ferrari, Mercedes, AMG, GT3 racing at its best. Different brands, evenly matched with great pro drivers. And that's just a little outlook of the race. The leader goes through. Ryan Wood in second, 5 seconds exactly the margin. And then this very tight battle, these Pro-Am cars with D'Alberto, Feeney, Love, Ojeda, back of shot Brendan Leach, man from Invercargill in the bottom end of New Zealand, and then Thomas Randall, the man from suburban Melbourne. It's not quite as evocative perhaps, but hugely successful as he is in race car driving, and annoyingly good at TV as it turns out as well. Declan Fraser in 9th in the Aston Martin. They got a bit of damage in that car yesterday after their trials and tribulations in race 1. So the defending champion Liam Talbot's going to have a job to do later on this afternoon, but he did that at Phillip Island, remember, in race 2 when he got in that car in the back half of that race, charged his way up the leaderboard. And then Alex Peroni in the ACM car, ACM Finance for Team BRM, back in 10th place. I spoke to their engineer, Marcus Kosh. He said, look, we got it wrong as far as tyre degradation was concerned last night. Massively underestimated how hard this joint is on tyres. So they really struggled in the back end of the race, and then Mark Rosser had a spin as well, which cost them, so 10th place at the moment.
Now, memory serves, I think Jaden Ojeda late in the race last night was just a little, let's call it warning, or was certainly noted about track limits, I think, around the back of Corporate Hill there. So he's hustling that car at the moment, but perhaps in that fight with Jordan Love there, you know, I mean, the pair of them, here he comes trying to sneak up the inside of the Ferrari. There was a touch there. There was a touch with the Ferrari. I think he gets by. Love recovers. Doesn't seem to be any telltale smoke from the guards or the bodywork on that Ferrari. He presses on. How will that be viewed at Motorsport Australia Race Control? Looks like he's giving the place back, I reckon. I reckon that's a redress there. Goes wide. Love goes wide. That's huge.
Big moments in GT World Challenge powered by AWS, and Jordan Love has just had an adventure. A huge battle with Jaden Ojeda that started up at turn 12 and it ended at turn 1. So this is the fight. Watch the red Ferrari. It runs wide over the exit curb. Ojeda gets down the inside. There's a little bit of front to rear contact, and at that point Ojeda went probably not on. Race control would have looked fondly on that. So he redressed. He let Love pass, but then he got back past at turn 1 and dropped it on the outside of the road and launched the Arise Racing Ferrari through the air. Huge, huge moments in these races. Takes them out of the mix and right to the back of the Pro-Am queue. That was big as the pit stop window opens now for the trophy class and AM class competitors in this race.
I can only imagine in the redress, the regather from that incident and so on, that he wasn't in the right spot looking for the ideal apex point. And you need that to be perfect at turn 1. You cannot afford to be wide, as you've just seen there.
Yeah, and these cars are really sensitive to the aerodynamic effect of the car in front. So I wonder if there was just an aero imbalance. Lost some air on the front of that car. You lose front downforce. The car doesn't want to turn. You understeer off the road, drive straight ahead, and that's what happened. It's pretty rough and ready out there. That's not what you do to a Ferrari 296 GT3.
Gap still stays at 5 seconds. Jackson Evans versus Ryan Wood, with the pit stop window, as Krause said, for our AM and trophy competitors now open. Now here's the redress. We wanted to have a little look at this. So they come down the main straight here. Watch for the realtor.
So Ojeda lifts out of it there and lets Love past. But Jordan's really shallow turning into turn 1. So he just had understeer, possibly carrying a bit too much speed, and it launches the Ferrari into the air. I mean, that's upstairs to Craig Baird, who's the driver standards chief for GT World Challenge and GT4, race director James Taylor, same combo that you see in the Repco Supercars Championship. Pit stops underway in the AM class. Jada thought that the bump and run, as it would have been classified up at turn 12, was probably not on. I think that's fair. He let out of the throttle early to let Love go down the inside at turn 1. Jordan was really shallow. The car had understeer and was off the road. Bella.
Yes, I'm joined alongside Brad Schumacher, who's got Brock Feeney out there right now doing a fantastic job. What have you made of his start?
Sorry, I didn't really hear anything you said then because it was so loud with the cars. But no.
What did you make of Brock's start?
Yeah, consistent. Obviously, it's tough to pass the Lamborghini. It's really quick in the straight line down the straight, but Brock's got him across the back, so it makes it a difficult pass here at Sydney. It's banked up a few of the guys behind us, and it makes it difficult to keep in line with the Ferrari, which obviously has the 15-second gap. So, look, we'll do our pit stop. I'll jump in the car. I'll give it my best run, and we'll see where we can.
As Renee Gracie fires off before us. Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, time is of the essence there, Bella. That's because the window for Brad to jump behind the wheel of this Kelso electrical Audi is coming up and coming up fast. So the Melbourne Performance team will be wanting him to get that helmet on very promptly and to be on standby. So back we go to Thomas Randall. He's still in 7th place there at the moment. What are we talking? Only 0.5 or actually a little bit more than that off Brendan Leach ahead of him.
Just doing some number crunching, Rusty, which is a slow process, I'm not going to lie. So Jackson Evans, 5.4 seconds in front of Ryan Wood, 15 seconds in front of Tony D'Alberto, but this is the car I'm interested in. It's the car we just talked to the owner of, Brad Schumacher, and this is his race car, and up to Phillip Island. It spent its last year sitting in the reception of Ridges Mount Panorama Resort on display for everyone checking into the hotel there at Bathurst. So this car now with Brock Feeney 16.6 seconds behind the leader. No pit stop time penalty. They weren't on the podium yesterday. So with 15 seconds being added to car 26 at their stationary time, it's going to be really close between Elliott Shute and Brad Schumacher. In theory, I say that because last night, somehow Arise Racing MacGyvered themselves an enormous margin at the end of the race, and no one in the pit lane completely understands how they did it.
We still have an ice cream headache, I think, over that, don't we?
Big in and out laps were critical. And in cold conditions last night, it was 12 degrees when the race was running. They elected to keep hot tyres on the 26 car, and they feel like that gave them an advantage. Not convinced it was 20 seconds of advantage, but it was an advantage nonetheless. Regardless, they won the race, and it was an awesome drive. So Tony D'Alberto is actually doing Jackson Evans a real solid here. In fact, he's doing Elliott Shute a real solid by just keeping Brock Feeney contained and dropping a little bit further off the back of that leading group. So when the pit stops all shuffle out, the 26 car is in a really good position. But I think it could be Steve Brooks who could be in the absolute box seat to be leading this one. Stubbsy.
Yeah, just having a chat here with James Konduras. So this is the race within the race, the AM battle against Renee Gracie, who came out on top yesterday. How'd you find it out there, James? Theo's just stepped in.
Yeah, look, we stayed with them to the 2 other Rams to begin with, but we had a brake bias issue that I just couldn't brake where they were braking, and it shot me past the apex a couple of times, picked up a bit of dirt on the front tyres, and so, you know, we lost them after that, but we'll see how Theo goes. He's not going to be happy because he's got pickup all over his front tyres.
So the family might have some words later on today, perhaps?
Oh, I'm sure I'll be hearing it on the radio.
Great to always have you guys here racing, and enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Hope you can pick a few off.
Thank you. Tough.
Superbarn Audi at the moment is 5.8 seconds shy of Renee Gracie in that AM battle, but in the, while we were focused on that interview, here's their car on screen. The Shoots Mercedes AMG was in there, so we just need to see where that rejoins and what that does for the AM class battle. A little shout out too from a trophy perspective. I mean, they've had a huge amount of work to do there for the Matt Stupas, Gary Higgin KFC Audi with an off in the early part of the weekend. Fire extinguisher retardant was needed. It was a huge effort by them, and we didn't really see them figure, unfortunately, on Saturday night, but they're back in action on Sunday, which is good. Could see them in the background with their stop a moment ago there too.
Yeah, NPC, Melbourne Performance Centre, who run the Audi Custom Sport Racing Australia team, had the spare engine out of the truck yesterday to get bits and pieces off. They had a very big off at this part of the racetrack in qualifying and quite a lot of damage. There was a small fire in the engine bay as well, so they had to take some of the ancillaries off the spare engine and put them on the race car engine. So well done to get them back out there and get some championship points this weekend. Battle continues. D'Alberto continues to have Feeney and Ojeda behind. Fraser and King in the lane, the first of the pro cars to stop, so their AMs will take over. D'Alberto struggling a little bit, you think, with these Pirellis now. The car understeering badly at turn 4, and there's some attitude as it bumps over the exit curb and that concrete apron out of 5. This is turn 6. There's Valente Rosso going to work, so Liam Talbot, the reigning GT World Challenge champion, will jump behind the wheel of the Aston.
Now that that's all settled down to from the pit window for the AM competitors too, we should say that, you know, obviously with the way things have played out in terms of the compulsory pit stop times today, Black Wolf Motorsport at the moment, good job, Benjamin Schutz, Shane Woodman, they lead that class at present, so over Renee Gracie in the second half of this race. What have we got? 25 minutes remaining, work continuing here on the Aston Martin. And in comes Antonio. D'Alberto brings the Lamborghini Huracan in. He'll hand over to Adrian Dietz. Good stint by Tony D'Alberto in this car.
Interesting, the only of that leading group to pit first. So getting them out of that group, although they were the leading car. The opportunity is here now for Brock Feeney and Jaden Ojeda. This needs to be an awesome in-lap for Feeney, and Ojeda and Leach should follow this time by. So this is a very important lap for Brock Feeney in the context of the race to make sure he hands that car over to Brad Schumacher within shouting distance of Elliott Shute, because we were talking about the margin being 16 seconds before. It's now 19. The pace disappeared out of the Lamborghini for the last couple of laps. So Evans was able to build that margin over the third place car even bigger. So Adrian Dietz will take over the 93 car for the second half of the race. Peroni in as well for Team BRM to hand over to Mark Rosser. They were 10th before the stops started. So this is a key phase of the race coming up now. This leading group of cars will get to pit lane to make their compulsory pit stop, and the entire complexion of the race will unfold. Evans is in. Race leader rolls to Arise Racing now in the Ferrari 296. Ryan Wood is in from second and will have a shorter pit stop time. So they're in a really good position. Hot in laps coming in for these two cars. They've all got to pit now, otherwise the pit window will close. And it all, Constantine is up really close. 40 kilometres an hour from well over 200 at the point they smash that middle pedal. And these cars can generate more than 2 Gs in lateral braking when they stomp that pedal to slow down. Arise Racing putting tyres on the Lance East Exotics car.
Now Mark Rosser and Peroni, particularly with the stint for Peroni, were down further than I thought we might expect to see them in that Audi. Their stop is already completed, and we could hear it exiting the lane there a moment ago with Mark Rosser at the wheel now. So they're currently 9th in the order, but let's just see where that all shakes out for them as well. And we've got a drama here for the Lamborghini, do we? Has that looped around? Maybe that's tyre smoke. Adrian might have had a lose on the outlap. We saw Dietz leaving the lane just a moment ago. Let's have a look here. AWS replay. And just rear wanted to overtake the front of the car.
Decent catch.
Very good catch.
The full 360 loop drive on. Wolfbrook Motorsport from MPC leaves the lane. The Dale ITM car drops and leads the lane. They put 4 new tyres on car 26, so that's the lead change right there. Shorter pit stop time for car 88. Steve Brooks, the man from Christchurch on the South Island, is going to assume the race lead. Shute drops and goes now, but has 4 brand new tyres. We understand that they've only done pressures on car 77, which is Steve Wyatt and Jordan Love. So there goes Wyatt. Paul Lucchini takes over the Realtor car. Brad Schumacher behind the wheel of car 888.
Someone's locked up. Someone's gone around, and that's the Brad Schumacher Audi. Brad Schumacher, the Kelso Electrical Audi, down at turn 2. We were focused on Tim Miles, and you could hear it off to the side of our camera. Through goes Wyatt, through goes the Realtor entry. Fist pump for young Ryan Wood for the stint that he did. And it was a very good stint. Had that car in second place from the very early part of this race and consistently kept it there. Hovered around 4.5 to 5 seconds off the Ferrari. It was a good run by Ryan Wood.
So this race changes complexion again. That is a very big moment for one of our key championship contenders. They came into the weekend in really good shape after such a good weekend at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. 13 points, qualified third for both races, fourth last night with Brock Feeney out. We're just going to understand if they put tyres on that car or whether they just did pressures. But this car has 4 tyres thrown at it, so Elliott Shute in the best possible shape potentially to hunt down Steve Brooks, who now leads the race in just his 4th ever GT World Challenge Australia race. 7.4 seconds is the margin.
Given what had happened, I guess, to their stablemate, shall we say, as Brendan...
Oh, he's off.
In the background, he's gone deep there, Brooks, at turn 2. I think the fist pump, there was added energy in that, knowing that the drama for Brad Schumacher might even help their cause a little bit too. So what are we talking? We need to let all this shake out, but Brooks at the moment leading 7.4 seconds over this car. Elliott Shute at the wheel in the Ferrari.
No team last year won both races in a weekend. It is a very, very hard thing to do because of that additional pit stop time you get for winning. Elliott Shute's 7.5 seconds away from the race lead in this one. That's what stands between him. Ferrari versus Audi at the front. We understand potentially 2 working side tyres went on the Audi. So it won't be at a massive disadvantage. Maybe as the stint goes on, Shute will be in better shape with 4 new bits of Pirelli rubber.
I haven't spoken to him this morning when we arrived at the track, but I would imagine after that tough night for Tim Miles, this will be about making amends. I think he made that big dive bomb around the back of Corporate Hill last night on the Ferrari, damaged the right front of the Dale ITM Audi, but you know what? That car at the moment that he shares with Brendan Leach, they are in 3rd in this race with 19 minutes remaining. Here's the Kelso electrical entry. Schumacher recovering after that moment down at turn 2 and gets by the Wyatt Ferrari. So right now it's Brooks leading the way by 7 seconds over Elliott Shute and Tim Miles. It's going to be a fascinating run to the flag here in GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS.
So I'm just going to correct myself, Rusty. The 888 car had 2 working side tyres put on. So the right-hand side tyres on the Kelso electrical car were new or newer. So that would explain Brad having that moment up there as he tried to turn the car into the left-hand corner. Right-hand side had colder tyres than the left and caused him to go off the road. Just getting a reading on what happened to the 88 car, which is the race leader at the moment, to see if they put tyres on for Steve Brooks, who's just measuring that lead at the moment to Elliott Shute. And confirmation 77. Yeah, 77 did pressures only, which is this car here, which is the Ferrari.
Just while you're crunching those numbers too, we've had a change in the AM class. Renee Gracie has moved past Woodman and has regained the lead in the AM class. 12th outright for the OnlyFans Audi and leading the AM class. Brooks in outright terms ahead by 7.1 seconds. Elliott Shute takes 0.3 or 2.5 on that lap out of Brooks.
This is Renee Gracie, who has taken the lead again in the AM class. So she's passed Shane Woodman while all the Pro-Am stops were going on. So she's looking to do the double as well. Super impressive performance yesterday. Qualified 2nd for the race last night and was duelling with the leaders early on. And then consolidated at the end to grab an AM class win and extend that championship lead, and looking to do the double here this weekend. 16.5 minutes to go in this one. And there's still a wide array of results on the table, feel, in this race.
Need to keep a little eye on Brad Schumacher. He's moved, he's recovered Richard just detailing there before about the rubber that we believe they put on the working side of the car, but he's now only 1.4 seconds off Lucchini in 4th place. So Schumacher recovering there. Here is our race leader. Great opening stint by Ryan Wood. Steve Brooks is now at the wheel. He's kept it just above 7 seconds. So there'll be some coaching in this, won't there, from the team. He's done some racing on the South Island. Obviously, the Wolfbrook Motorsport team, very prominent in that part of the world, and was really excited about coming over here and being a part of this. Richard detailing last night in our race under lights about, you know, the fact that Ryan Wood looking for a bit of support from Wolfbrook guys who he's had an association with for some time, and I think they basically said, well, how about you come and go one better, come racing with us here in GT3 in Australia, and Ryan jumped at it. This could be a win coming up for this combo, but we have 15.5 minutes to go.
And part of the appeal for Steve Brooks as well as the final round of the championship is at Hampton Downs in New Zealand, just an hour south of Auckland. And he is so looking forward to racing these guys on his home turf. He said, I'll get up to speed in the Aussie tracks, then they can come and play in my backyard. Looking forward to that. A couple of starts in a Porsche GT3 Cup car in Somerset GT New Zealand over the Summer Series, the Next Gen NZ Championship. Lots of Kiwi interest in GT racing in this part of the world. Of course, Brendan Leach has been heavily involved, and Tim Miles as well, and they're running third. They're in a really good position to capitalise with Paul Lucchini behind them, and then Brad Schumacher on the comeback trail as well. Wyatt 6, Talbot 7. What can the champ do to recover some championship points in this one? Perez Rossazalua rounding out the top 10, Gracie on top in the ends.
Our coverage continues on a fantastic afternoon here at Sydney Motorsport Park. 14.5 minutes remaining in this GT3 race here. Our final 1 hour of the weekend for this class. Had an awesome race last night under lights. Today, a bit of a different story. An Audi leading the way. It's been Ferrari by and large over Friday, Saturday, so to speak. But Steve Brooks leading, but it's been trimmed. His advantage is now down to 5.6 seconds. So Elliott Chute keeps gradually, in last night's winning Ferrari, eating into that advantage. Now, the OnlyFans Audi, as Richard detailed a short time ago, has regained the lead in the AM class. So Renee Gracie back on top from Woodman and Konduras. They're your top three in the AM class, 12th, 13th, 14th outright, respectively. Let's get another update from pit lane. Here's Chris.
Thank you, Greg. Joined by Antonio D'Alberto. As we know, he uses that name when it's GT racing, mate. That first stint, front row start, there was a lot going on.
There was. I think our tyres lasted about 2 laps, and then I was really struggling with the rear of the car, and I was just holding the field up, unfortunately, but I made the car as wide as I could, and finished the stint in P3, but lost a bit of ground there. But it's been a great weekend for us, a big step forward, and we're just learning more and more about this car, so we're happy.
Because the car has been a big step, hasn't it? The new one, it takes a while to learn.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't do a lot of racing last year, and I think we did the 12-hour and one of the tail and bend rounds. So, we need to refine it. We need to know what the car wants. So these events like this weekend really help with that knowledge.
And you're getting back to the roots. You won't be at QR, you'll be overseas.
Yeah, going away on a little family holiday. So I've thrown Wally the keys, which he's absolutely devastated about. He can't wait. So every time we come to a race meeting, he hides my race gear somewhere, so I can't get in the car. So Wally will join Deeds here for QR, and then I'll jump back in for the next one.
Well, we look forward to seeing you then, and in the meantime, we'll see David at QR. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Hope he has a nice family holiday. That's well deserved. His wife's
seat back a long way for Wally.
Yeah, massively. Massively. Now, the reason our director has just kept a little watch on this is because a bit of pressure here, I think, for Tim Miles. He's resisted it well so far, but look at the closing, the gradual way that Brad Schumacher and Paul Lucchini have closed in here. And this is the fight for third place.
So Schumacher has passed Lucchini, was behind him after that off up at turn 2. Can he salvage a top 3 finish in this and continue what's been a really good start to the championship for the Kelso Electrical team? 4.2 seconds, the race lead at the moment. And as the race evolves, the advantage for Elliott Chute will get bigger. It won't bore you to tears with tyre talk, but Shute took 4 tyres, Steve Brooks took 2 tyres. That's the difference, 4 versus 2, at a circuit where the tyres cop the most abuse out of any in this part of the world.
There's Brock Feeney looking on rather to the left of Ryan Wood. Ryan, of course, sharing that car with our race leader, Steve Brooks. It's down to 2.2 seconds. Getting a little stressy for Brooks versus Shute. Love to eavesdrop on the kind of, I guess, coaching for Steve at this time. We've got 11 minutes remaining. Just got to hang on for 11 minutes. And in the meantime, Schumacher looms large in the mirrors of Tim Miles in the fight for 3rd place.
I love that this paddock as well, just bringing Supercars rivals together. It's so cool because in 7 days' time, when they're racing at Symmons Plains Raceway, Ryan Wood would not hesitate to feed Brock Feeney off the road and vice versa. But right now they're teammates, they're brothers in arms in the Audi camp here at GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS. I love that. It's such a cool environment in the paddock. They're all just racing car drivers. They're just race fans. They want to go car racing, and they're all passionate about it. They also love driving these cars as well.
You've also got your evidence now for when any cases come up. Provoked by one R. Crail.
Nelson, the race director's the same as well, I suppose.
Yeah. Love it, love it.
It's such a cool vibe in this paddock too. And really cool racing cars. So Miles under some pressure here, but this is a story we've told before in GT World Challenge Australia at Phillip Island. In the championship last year, Tim Miles and Brad Schumacher staged arguably the race of the season, the battle for what would ultimately be a race win. And Tim fended off Brad for about 25 minutes of brutal wheel-to-wheel racing. G'day to Trace, Tim's wife, who's here this weekend, watching on. Home turf for the expat Kiwi, lives in Sydney now. As the leader works his way through traffic, the margin 0.5. So Elliott Shute has got to the back of Steve Brooks, and all of a sudden this race changes complexion again as Brooks negotiates the traffic, certainly not doing him any favours. Number 1 in the LED display in the window of the Wolfbrook Audi, and he's trying to work his way past Theo Kaduris. He's got Gary Higgin in front, and this is being very costly. Does Shute see an opportunity here? He's going to do that down the inside, does he? Oh, it's so close, and there's almost contact. But Brooks gets away with it for the moment.
Almost squeezed. Down at 8 there. Great stuff. Play on, but now this is for the race lead. So they just need to get by Theo Kanduris here if they can. Theo currently 2nd, we should point out. He's got up to 2nd in the AM class, ahead of Woodman now. So the Kanduris brothers in that Super Barn Audi, 2nd in class.
Not playing for the same race, and these two Audis not even in the same team. The Super Barn car run by Tagani. Oh, Shute tried to get down the inside at 1. So Theo was pretty friendly for Brooks on the run in there to turn 1. The door was shut for Elliott Shute, who has to wait for turn 2. And that just opens up a couple of car lengths between the two leaders now.
There's Woodman, 3rd in the AM class on the back of Kanduris now. So we keep watching the clock. 8 minutes remain in this one, and there's a couple of people hanging on. Literally. Can Steve Brooks do it? They're willing him on in the garage, but Shute's in great form at the moment. We saw that again last night. Great stint by him at the start of last night's race. Jackson Evans bringing it home, but we reversed that on Sunday. So it's Elliott bringing it home on Sunday afternoon, and he is, what are we talking there? Maybe a car length now, just with that little bit of traffic, but 7.5 to go. He's got another opportunity for sure.
What we have seen is just a gradual improvement in the race results for the Wolfbrook team. 13th and 6th at the Island, and then 6th in race 1 yesterday. Right now they're running in the race lead. The battle on Elliott Shute. Down towards turn 1 again. Well, we've been joined by... We'll come back to that in a minute. Let's go to Stubbsy first.
Thank you, Rich. Just going to dive bomb in here with Ryan Wood. Ryan, this is some tense time. We've got around 7 minutes or so to go. What are you making of the effort of Brooksy so far?
Yeah, he's doing awesome. He's just got past. Come on, Steve, go. Yeah, he's doing an awesome job. But, yeah, Elliot's in another league at the moment, and that Ferrari's pretty fast. So looking forward to seeing a bit of BOP for the next round.
You've got the engineer here in front of you. You've been giving some messaging, and you're making the boys laugh too with that little one. They didn't miss that subtle little dig at the bosses. What's the messaging in terms of where he can be quicker and how he can make this happen?
Yeah, for Steve and I, both of us, we really struggle at the high speed, and you know, when you've got good benchmarks like Brock and Brendan, it makes you look a little bit average at turn 1. So we're just building up, and he's doing awesome, and yeah, fingers crossed we can hang on to P2.
I'll bounce on down while we're here and see if I can go Brendan and give us an update on your day out there so far.
Yeah, a tricky first part of the race. It was pretty busy at the start. There was a bit of contact all over the show, but Tim's doing a really good job now. For us, it's just about having a good result today after yesterday, and so far so good. We've got Brad right behind us, who's really quick, but I'm sure they'll play fairly.
We'll tick off a trifecta. We'll leave you, Ben. We'll jump in with Brock, who's here as well. Brock, for Brad out there, he will be more filthy with him, and nothing needs to be said, right? He's harder marker, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, but look, we didn't put ourselves in a good position. We just weren't very fast, and you know, Tony was doing a great job, and we just didn't have any pace to get around him. So look, he's further back than what he should have been, and yeah, obviously made a mistake at the start there, but that's part of it. Hopefully, well, it's between the teammates, but he's just got him actually. But yeah, if we can salvage a podium here, it'll be good. We're certainly not the fastest this weekend, but we'll just try and keep ticking away a few points.
That's just a track thing. Obviously, the winners on the Sunday down at Phillip Island, the Audi just not quite in its own here.
We've just been a bit up and down over the weekend. We've been fast at some points, but yeah, just struggled. Like last night, we got hosed, and a little bit the same this morning. But anyway, we'll come back at the next one and try to go again.
Thanks, Brock.
Cheers.
So a couple of things happening there. Thank you, Chris, while those interviews were happening, and Brock rightly pointing out that Brad Schumacher has moved into third place. So here's the replay. Here's how this has happened. So this is Brooks v. Elliot Shute. Elliot Shute takes the lead at this point. Brooksy tries to come back at him here briefly. Since that moment, Elliot has established a lead of 1.4 seconds. Jackson Evans and the team, congratulations. And we'll try and establish what happened as well as far as Schumacher v. Miles is concerned. In the meantime, joining us here in commentary is the Minister for both commentary and racing this weekend. Vote 1 for Thomas Randall. How was the stint, sir? Welcome back.
Oh, great to be back, Rusty. The stint was definitely intense. A bit trickier when you start at the back in 14th, and that first lap was pretty lively and managed to pick off a few of them. Ojeda was pretty quick, but yeah, handed the car over, I think maybe in, I don't know, 6th or something, and D'Alberto was holding up a big queue there. He was doing a mega job being able to hang on to P2 for a while there, and yeah, I think we all pitted pretty much the same lap apart from D'Alberto. He went one lap earlier, trying to get off probably that rubber, and no, the car was feeling pretty good. Yeah, like I said, tricky with the aero washer. Had one moment at turn 1, but some good battles as well. And Zalua, he's 9th, I think, at the moment. So yeah, I don't think we're going to be getting a podium today, but yeah, it's been a lot of fun this weekend.
At the opening lap, well, there was a lot going on, and you got juiced. That's the question. That's the statement.
Question or statement?
No, both. There was aggressive stuff going on there, though.
Yeah, there was. He actually hit me out of in the middle of turn 5 and put me sideways, and then he went down the inside. But look, he was pretty fast, and then I think he had contact with Jordan Love at the last corner, and then he redressed, and then Jordan had his own moment into turn 1. So yeah, it was pretty chaotic out there, but thankfully everyone's still going around, which is good. And yeah, obviously Elliot Shute and Jackson Evans, they've been super fast, and I think the fact that D'Alberto was struggling just has really helped them.
Quickly, before we focus on the end of this race, time for a little headline. Will we, won't we see you doing more outings like this?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'd love to do more. It's a lot of fun with the whole team at Sydney Motorsport and with Marcel. I literally got the call up a week ago, and he said, look, at the moment, it's just a one-off. We'll see how we go, and maybe after last night's podium, you might want to do some more, but we'll wait and see. Either way, it's been a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed being in the comp box with you guys. and also being able to race a Mercedes-AMG GT3.
Consummate politician, perfect answer, no clarity there. And you know what? Can stitch a deal together where we keep the commentators on one side, the races on the other. What a weekend you've had. Good for you. Well played.
Try to keep everyone happy here, guys. So hopefully we've nailed it.
Well, and the outcome from a weekend should be to send as many invoices after it as you possibly can. So here's the battle down into turn one. So we cast our eyes back a little bit to 7th and 8th position. Liam Talbot and Mark Rosser having a scrap. So the South Aussie in the ACMF car for Team BRM and the Valente Rosso Mercedes AMG. Liam Talbot on the grid last night. An amazing moment, Rusty. A charity on the side of his car that he's involved with Shannons. He's going to tip 150 grand into,
Amazing.
which is just remarkable.
For children's hospitals, he's very, very passionate about that cause. You can get on and support that by going and checking his social media. He has been big at both Phillip Island and here on matching donations, but last night right in the midst of that live interview, I think with Chris Stubbs, he basically said, I'm going to do something here and made the commitment. So wonderful that he's done that. Very, very, important cause and close to his heart.
2 laps to go in this one. A minute to go on the timing, plus 1 lap after that. And Elliott Shute now 5.5 seconds in front. Talk racetrack to me, Thomas, because grip levels change so much at this place, we know, and we've been talking about tyres, and we don't want to go on too much about that at the end of the race, but how different was it over the course of your stint before you handed the car over to Marcel?
It was a lot trickier for sure. I mean, I guess I started the race, heavier fuel load, and the fact that the race is, that 2:10 to 3:10 window in the day, right in the peak of the UV. So certainly the track felt a lot slipperier and a bit more tyre decked today than tonight. So just losing the rear pretty much over the stint. I think some of the other cars were struggling a bit more, and it's just so tough when you're right behind other cars, and the aero wash around here is a little bit challenging. But look, I still had heaps of fun, and yeah, turn one, when you're right behind a car, it's pretty wild. If you have a snap and you go to correct it and then flick the steering wheel back, sometimes the power steering can lock out a little bit. So it's quite challenging like that, and you're always changing the ABS and traction control settings depending on the grip levels as well. And yeah, it was just a really fun battle, like seeing up ahead what was going on, and thankfully keeping out of trouble. I just wanted to do my job, hand the car over to Marcel, and thankfully I managed to do that. But yeah, we've really had perfect conditions this weekend for all racing, bar Friday, which was a bit of a mix of wet and dry, but we have seen some incredible racing across all the categories this weekend.
On the run home, last lap board is on display for Elliott Shute, who's now down at turn 2. A couple of other results that we'll highlight once they cross the line, but certainly from a trophy perspective, good effort for Gary Higgin and Matt Stupas in the KFC Audi, given the dramas earlier in the weekend. And the AM class at the moment being led by Renee Gracie, another very, very good outing in the OnlyFans Audi, and 11th outright.
Thomas Randall's left the building. He's going to go and congratulate Marcel Zalua as he crosses the line. And just on that point, we haven't seen much of them today. Sergio Perez, P6, that's a sister Guy Valmont racing car. After a pretty tough opening stint to the race for George King, Perez has come home with a wet sail on that one and is chasing down Paul Lucchetti. Tim Miles has continued to fend off the advances of the Realtor Mercedes, so he's 4th. Brad Schumacher 3rd, so valuable championship points for that combo, and they'll move to 2nd in the standings heading into the next round of the championship. The hardest thing to do in GT racing is to back up a Saturday win with one on Sunday, and it's the first time it's been done in a long time in GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS, but it's no problem for Jackson Evans and Elliott Shute. Back-to-back in Sydney, Arise Racing dominating, and they're 3 out of 4 in 2025.
That is quite the lineup there at Arise Racing. A couple of drivers who've starred in Radical Cup competition this weekend. An engineer who's a real valuable addition to that team. Schumacher crosses the line in that 3rd place. Realtor Audi with Lucchetti at the wheel, 4th. Brooks takes an excellent 2nd in the end, down by 9.5 seconds on Shute. So it's a win that slips away, but take the positive. A really great opening stint by Ryan Wood, and Brooks will be happy with that.
This is a busy little battle. Liam Talbot's got it all going on here. Mark Rosser was battling with him, and Marcel Zalua has cruised up to the back of them right at the end, 7th, 8th and 9th. Bang, bang, bang. Talbot 7th, so championship points there for the Aston Martin. And here's Renee. So she's going to sweep the weekend as well, and that will comfortably entrench her on top of the AM class standings.
And that basically, I think, highlights or kind of underscores what she talked about in last night's post-race interview, how good she feels about her return to racing journey. It gets better every year, and clearly in 2025 we've seen it go to another level. Back-to-back wins in the AM class for Renee Gracie. Congratulations to all of the team there. And that's inside Arise Racing, with Jackson Evans celebrating the win with Elliott Shute. And as we said before, the Higgin Stupas KFC Audi taking things out for the trophy class as well.
I think Steve Brooks and Ryan Wood will take a lot out of that, even though they didn't quite hold on to grab the win. They led late every race so far. They've improved. They've climbed the leaderboard, so Queensland Raceway will await now for that Audi. I think they're in great shape. Jaden Ojeda was another starring performer. Paul Lucitti got Tim Miles on the last lap of the race, so 4th and 5th. So Milesy back to P5 at the end there. Then Sergio Perez 6th. Solid day, as we said. Talbot Ross is a little Wyatt, rounding out the top 10 after a while. Stint for Jordan Love at the start of that one. Gracie, the Penduras brothers, and then the Woodman Shute car in AM class.
Highlights for you of the final one of the weekend. An hour of competition, an all-Italian front row. And Tony D'Alberto would battle with the Ferrari. Jordan Love made a really racy start, and that made things awkward. On the run down to turn 1, Brendan Leach had some good speed as well in the Dale ITM Audi, but watch here. Deep goes the Peroni Audi, but emerging into the lead, Jackson Evans, and he would set about building a decent lead of about 5 seconds. But Tony D'Alberto did a pretty miraculous job to hold that second place for quite a while in the Lamborghini.
And this was a key move in the end. Ryan Wood getting up the inside of D'Alberto, and it opened the opportunity for the Wood Brooks car to be in contention at the end. If they'd been bottled up behind the Lambo in the early stages of that race, they might not have been in the position. This was huge. Contact. Jordan Love redressed at turn 1. Love up the inside, turns in too quick, understeer off the road, bouncing through the undergrowth. The Arise Racing Ferrari. Amazing that it didn't have any significant damage out of that moment for Jordan Love and Stephen White, and then the pit stops happened.
It literally flew, that car, didn't it? Out jumps Thomas Randall, around went Adrian Dietz, and then kept it pointing in the right direction. Steve Brooks jumped behind the wheel of the Audi, having stepped in, taking over from Ryan Wood, and he took the race lead until this moment here. Elliott Shute gradually chasing down the 7-second advantage that they held for a while. Brooks not keen to let it go, but that was the moment they knew at Arise Racing, and they would go on to win by 9.5 seconds.
A dominant performance in Sydney for the Arise Racing Ferrari. 2 race wins from 2 starts for Elliott Shute and Jackson Evans. And Chris Stubbs can tell us all about it down in Victory Lane.
Thank you. I will, What I can get up nice, close and personal with Elliott Shute. He's just walking in the opposite direction to me. So come over this way there, Elliott. We'll bump in here. We'll be a little rude in front of some other competitors there in Ryan Wood. But Elliott Shute, most importantly, 2 from 2 for the weekend. That is just outrageous. Well done.
Yeah, it's a bit unusual. I think we just used our tyres the right way this weekend. So it's a credit to the team. The car was driving really nicely. I think Jackson gave me a good lead, so it was, couldn't have gone better.
In terms of the overall package that the team has put together around you guys at this place, it's a team effort, we know that, and Jackson is doing an outstanding job too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's incredible, not just in the car, but he's brought me to another level, I think, understanding these types of cars in this car, so yeah, incredibly grateful to him.
Queensland Raceway at QR, more of the same?
I hope so. Actually, it'd be interesting to have a wet race, but I think we might. It won't be perfectly suited to our cars, so it should make it interesting.
All right, so you've given someone else in the field something to chase there. They'll be liking to hear that, Elliott. Congratulations to you and the entire team on this weekend.
Thanks very much, mate.
So we're going to bounce on round. I'll come around the back this way, and we'll move on to that was our Pro-Am win for the weekend, Elliott Shute and Jackson Evans and Arise Racing. But for OnlyFans and Team MPC, in our AM class, once again, Renee Gracie, 2 from 2. How good is that?
Yeah, I'll take it while I can. It's been a really, really good weekend. I'm very happy. Obviously critiquing like race car drivers do, I wasn't overly happy with the car in the end there, but I won my class, so I can't complain too much.
The progression, it's not just about winning the class, it's the times that you're hitting this weekend, and you're proving to yourself, aren't you, just what's capable, and there's still more to come.
Yeah, hopefully there's more to come. I don't think this is it for me, but yeah, it's the confidence boost I needed, I think, early in the season, and now the pressure's on just to keep it going.
Well done.
Thank you so much.
All right, that brings us also through to our trophy class winners. I can see Matt Stupas is here. Gary Higgins is not too far away as well. We'll grab a word with both of you. Come on over, Gary. That was a pretty tough weekend. It started in tough conditions, but to take out the win here and just be able to compete in today's race was a victory in its own, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. What great fun. Yes, we had a rough ride with the luck, but gee, that was great fun.
Matt, for you out there in the car today?
No, it was great. I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to thank the boys for putting it back together. I mean, it was funny, there was no actual damage to the car, than the fact the damn thing caught on fire. So I don't know why it caught on fire, but you know, we had to get all the wiring changed last night. The boys worked quite late, so they were there till late at night, and we got the thing running, and here we were today for a faultless car. So well done MPC and Audi, so that was great. And overall, we had a great time.
Well done, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
So the KFC car catching on fire yesterday, that was perhaps a zinger burger, was it? That's a zinger from me, and we've got a short break, and we'll be back with plenty more right here on the Shannons Speed Series.
Final race of the weekend still to come here at Sydney Motorsport Park for Ferrari Challenge. In the meantime, as you can see from those pictures, the podium is set for GT3. Some champagne about to be sprayed. In the thick of it all is our Master of Ceremonies. Here's Chris Stubbs.
Welcome to the podium presentation for race 2 of the 2025 GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS at GT Festival Sydney. Presenting the trophies today, Ben McMillan, CEO of SRO Motorsports Australia. Please welcome the top 3 placed cars for the Pro-Am class. Representing Kelso Electrical Team MPC, Brock Feeney and Brad Schumacher. Representing Wolfbrook Team MPC, Ryan Wood and Steve Brooks. And in first place, from Arise Racing GT, Jackson Evans and Elliot Shute. Ladies and gentlemen, your GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS Pro-Am winners. Let the celebrations begin. And now, as we reset the podium, we'll be welcoming the top 3 placed cars for the AM class. And in third place for Black Wolf Motorsport, Benjamin Schutz and Shane Woodman. In second place for Superbarn Supermarkets, Tagani Motorsport, James Kondouris and Theo Kondouris. And in first place for OnlyFans and Team MPC, Renee Gracie. Ladies and gentlemen, your GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS AM class winners. And now for the celebrations. And as we reset the podium, we will finally welcome the top 3 placed cars, our winners for the trophy class. For KFC, Team MPC, Matt Stupas and Gary Higgin. Ladies and gentlemen, your GT World Challenge Australia, powered by AWS Trophy Class winners. And now, Matt and Gary, you can celebrate your victory. So as the celebrations continue at Sydney Motorsport Park, a quick break and we'll be back with the Ferrari Challenge to round out round 2 of the Shannons Speed Series.